Hey guys, hope you're doing amazing today and the gods have been smiling on you. We're about to take part in a challenge. So I'm in here in the greenhouse getting some arugula planted. The arugula is not going to help us for the challenge, but it is going to push us to basically grow more food and be better prepared and get more self-sufficient. So the challenge is put on by the Cow Emporium and Old Swedes Farm. Now the challenge is basically February 2023 food challenge. Now the whole premise of this challenge is to grow enough food to be able to sustain you through the winter months of February. The rules of it are basically is you have to grow enough food for it to sustain you through February, and you're only allowed to spend $50 during that month for basically yourself and your partner. If you have kids, then it's an extra $25 per month per kid. So for us, we'll be allowed to spend basically $125 for the month on extra food from the grocery store. It's going to be a little hard for us because we like getting some cereal and milk and that kind of thing. However, this year we are planning to add dairy goats to the homestead here, so that should look after our dairy needs. So the idea of the challenge is to be able to show basically what you can do on a limited budget to be able to start feeding yourself. With prices going up nowadays and everything happening, we want to show that, you can start growing more of your own food. You can be better prepared for stuff in the future. You can become more self-sufficient just by growing basically a lot of your own food. Last year we actually did almost the same thing. We were able to grow our own meat or raise our own meat for almost a year. We raised and grew vegetables. I think we stocked enough for about 6-7 months. We were also able to forage for blueberries, blackberries, and other stuff that's on the property. So we're able to put away lots of fruit as well. Our chickens will play a big part as well. However, again, you don't want to be eating eggs every day for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner. So a bit of variety and a bit of flavor really helps. We'll be using our rabbit colony again this year, where we raised our baby rabbits last year. In the fall, after we harvested the rabbits, we actually seeded it all with grass. So there's going to be tons of great grass for them as soon as they get in here in a little bit once the snow melts. So we've got our food forest here and also over here as well, where there's apple trees, pear trees, plum trees, rhubarb, thyme, rosemary, camaries, raspberries, blueberries, black currant, all that stuff as well that we're raising up here. Instead of growing decorative trees and decorative stuff, we're actually planting stuff that will feed us as well. In spots like this, we're using old containers that we can't use for anything else. These have holes in it, so we can't use it for storing water. And we didn't plant regular flowers in here, we planted salad burnet. So this is actually one that can be used like parsley in salads, but it is also a medical plant as well. It's a hemostatic agent, so you can basically pick it, rub it, crush it up, and put it inside a wound or on a wound or scratches or cuts, that sort of thing. So when you're thinking of doing something decorative, maybe on your front steps or your porch or somewhere on your property, think about what you can plant that's just non-decorative but has other uses. Say you want pretty flowers, plant nasturtiums or something where you can eat them as a salad as well, and then they have the great flowers that give off the color. We're expanding and changing around our raised garden bed. We do raised gardens here because, as you can see right in between this, it is all sand here, like literally sand. We've got a beach volleyball court because it's all sand. We can fill sandboxes, no problem, because it's all sand here. So we have to do raised beds right now to contain the good soil while we regenerate the sand, add more organic matter and compost to it to be able to build up the soil and use all of the soil itself. So right now we're actually going to move all these beds closer together, make smaller walkways in between them because the walkways we had were too big, we were wasting space. So everything's going to get pushed closer together. We're going to do more vertical garden as well. So growing things up on arches and trellises to allow for more growing space upwards instead of outwards. With that kind of idea, you can take something like this wire here, which was basically a fence, and create an arch, say over some steps or over a walkway you have at your house. Say you have a front porch with some steps coming down. Create an arch over top of it and plant some peas on it, plant some beans on it, plant something that, say scarlet runner beans, where it flowers and gives you the beans as well. So as we think about this challenge, we're gonna think about more ways we can grow more things and be more creative about the way we grow. This bed here last year was our potato bed. Still got to clean it up from the fall. After we harvested, we took trees down, so we've got to get the trees and stuff out of here. This bed now is going to be used for possibly some grains, possibly some other stuff like that, maybe some millet, and that way we can start almost trying to make our own flour, make our own cereal grains as well. What'll happen to the potatoes? Well, they are actually going to get planted in the food forest as well. So we're going to mulch everything in the food forest, and we're going to start moving the potatoes around. So some potatoes will go here. We're going to use the roost out method so that we don't actually have to dig down a bit. We'll just add a layer of compost and mulch with the big 2 straw bales that we have there. And that way we can have potatoes here. We can put potatoes over in this one. We can put potatoes over in the far one. We can put potatoes over here. We've got a small little almost flower garden over here and bushes to kind of help block the view of the neighbors. So we'll be utilizing more different spaces on the property to be able to grow a different variety of plants and crops and veg. You can see here one of the big patches of wild blueberries we have. Over here is where our wild blackberries grow as well. And in this spot going around it is actually where we're going to put our goats this year. And hopefully that manure actually trickles out to some of the blueberries and blackberries here, helping them grow bigger as well. So a lot of the stuff we do for our fruits, we actually forage. We forage for the blueberries, the blackberries, we have wild strawberries and raspberries around the property too. So that'll help us be able to collect enough fruit going into the winter months. You can see in this food forest, I dug out some manure and dirt and stuff that was in the cow field. However, I made a mistake and grabbed it from the wrong spot. So there was lots of rocks in that area. I'm gonna slowly pulling those out. But it's nice to see the flowers coming up too. So again, with a food forest like this, where we have the cherries, the apples, the pears, the plums, we also have stuff like daylilies, crocuses. We've got some other little shrubs, rosemary, thyme, rhubarb, all planted through here as well. I'll probably do some potatoes in this section as well, and that'll free up the bigger beds to do the grains, carrots, and other stuff like that. That, you know, eventually we want to move some of the carrots and stuff into the food forest to be able to do different sections. However, I don't think the ground is in a good shape anyway to do the carrots out here yet, whereas the potatoes we're kind of going to do on top with the mulch and compost. So you may be limited for space as well, not have a big property. Again, you can use planters like this to be able to grow herbs, strawberries, and other stuff, where you can help supplement your regular groceries with stuff you're growing at home. So again, something like this where we have the raised planters on either side of our bench here. We did nasturtiums, again, great for being able to eat. They have pretty flowers that you can look at and eat as well. On the other side we had basil and chives. And again, you can let the chives go to seed and flower. And again, they're pretty to look at. So you don't necessarily just have to plant pretty looking flowers. You can plant veggies and herbs and edible flowers as well to give you the benefit of both beauty and substance. So during this whole challenge, I want you to check out some of the other channels as well, giving you hints and tips and basically showing you how you can store up enough food to be able to go through a month on your own food. And you might say, well, I don't have enough space. Well, right here we took a folding table and we're starting all our plants here. And up top, we actually took out the normal light that's in the fan and just put a grow light in there. And once these things move outside, we're gonna keep some herbs here. We're gonna keep some sprouts. We're gonna probably keep some dwarf tomatoes, some other stuff here as well, so we can continue growing inside, especially some salad as well that's in this little one here. So you don't need a lot of space, and if you're worried about a grow light, again, just buy a normal, or just replace your normal light with a grow light bulb. Very simple and easy to do. So guys, I highly recommend checking out some of the other channels. You'll see the hashtag. If you stick that hashtag into the YouTube search bar, it'll bring up other channels doing this challenge as well. So I recommend you checking them out, and keep posted too to see what we grow, to see how we're growing it, and some of the tips and hints that we're using to be able to sustain ourselves going into the winter months here. So thanks again for checking us out, guys. We'll talk to you soon. Love ya.